Go. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited about today's podcast. It's the JMTTv and the Real Jamie Milne podcast. I have got the rabbi of regression, the sultan of swish patterns. I've been practicing this all day. The princess of positive psychology and her highness of hypnotherapy, the legendary Paul Eliseo and Juliet, two of the most amazing human beings I've had the pleasure of hanging out with for a while, and the directors of Evolve and Relaunch, which is the educational organisation within Australia. Man, hello, how are you?
How you doing? Yeah, really excited to be here. Yeah.
That was the best. Thank you.
That was an awesome intro.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I'm looking forward to where this conversation goes today.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, Jamie.
I've been practicing the tail of the tape for ages. the mantis of mindset.
With the champion of chin-ups.
Oh,
no.
Yeah. I was like, rabbi of regression, the Baptist of, I was like,
the master of muscles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's it. Love it. Hey, guys, just very quickly, give just a little bit of basic background about you guys, maybe as individuals and as a collective, as a partnership. Who are you? What do you do? Where have you come from? I know that's could be challenging, but
well, I think it's probably best to get Paul to start, because I think we all wouldn't be having this conversation if at the ripe age of maybe 20, Paul hadn't started diving into this world. Yeah. So let's start with you.
Well, in a nutshell, basically in my late teens, early 20s, I was going through a pretty tumultuous kind of dynamic of, still living at home with my family and having a really interesting family dynamic, having a lot of external stuff going on. And it led to a real interesting situation mentally, emotionally, and physically for me. So I had a lot of physical problems going on, and a lot of doctors, etc., didn't know how to deal with it. And then I realized they were stemmed from a psychological type, mental, emotional stress. So I had anxiety, panic attacks that were causing a lot of, digestive issues. And it was only upon stumbling across a book one day that I started to click. And then I started to realize my thoughts were affecting my body. And then I went on a journey of basically changing careers, going down a study path into, at first, personal training and learning a little bit of hypnotherapy for myself and NLP to help myself. And then eventually becoming really immersed in the PT world, becoming PT of the Year South Australia and all those kind of things. I realized that, it didn't matter how good my exercise program or my rehab program was for people, or nutrition plan. If they had some mental, emotional blocks, they'd fall off the bandwagon pretty quick, or they wouldn't get out of their pain, or they wouldn't get their result, or they'd find a reason to sabotage. So then I end up going back to the mindset and bringing in the hypnotherapy and the NLP and some of the other tools to then, help them shift through those blocks. And I found that after years of PT and counting reps and doing all that kind of stuff, that I was getting better results with the once a month sit down sessions where I chat to my clients than I was the rest of the month training sessions. And so that just sort of took off. And then I started teaching that kind of thing, and then been traveling around teaching that, and just really diving deep into the mind body world and bringing them both together. And so I initially had my business, and then lucky enough to have a life-changing experience when I met this beautiful woman here.
Yeah, I went through my mid-20s ticking off all the societal boxes, the things that you do to be happy, right? And I got to about 27 years old, and I was married, had the corporate job, had the nice car, had all the things, right? And I was miserable, but I was an expert at the process of anxiety. I was anxious 24/7, and I didn't know why. And I couldn't stand it at the time. And it got so bad that I had to find a resolution. I had to start doing my own inner work. And that started with researching things about meditation. I kept hearing about this thing called NLP. A lot of people that I'd met that were very successful had studied NLP and even hypnotherapy. And I thought, well, that's a bit left of center. What is all that? And it was very much in the corporate world, but the more I found who I was, the more I understood what my values were, the more I didn't fit in that old world of binge drinking, corporate world, being in a passionless, unhappy marriage. And so all those things, all those identity factors that I'd built up in my life just kind of got shattered in the space of about 12 months. I completely, what I call, which is what my book is called, Relaunch My Life. I relaunched my life. It's like I had take two on life. And personally, hypnotherapy was something that was so profound in my own healing journey and helped me understand why I had experienced the things that I had. And then I will cut a long story short, but about a year after, about 6 to 12 months on that journey of finding myself, I also found the most amazing man that I'd ever met in my life. And just, I don't know if you've ever had those moments in life where it just changes everything. But the moment I met Paul, it was like, it sounds so cheesy, but it was like my world had been black and white up until then, and it turned into like this multicolor reality. And yeah, so, but I started my own coaching business. I studied hypnotherapy and NLP, obviously with Paul, because he's just the most phenomenal teacher, as you would attest. And I started my own business because it was like super important for me to stand on my own 2 feet. Started running retreats with women in Bali to help them relaunch their lives like I had. And then I've been teaching NLP now for 4 years. And about 3 years ago, because our accountant basically looked at our businesses and said, you guys are doing really similar things, you should just merge your business. That was where Evolve and Relaunch was born. And I have to say, that's really where it's all flourished. Like our community that we've built together, it's just phenomenal. And we still pinch ourselves like that. We have such incredible people like you that we have the absolute honor of sharing these life-changing skills with, and then you have that ripple effect that the people in your life get to benefit as a result of the skills that have benefited us personally and all the hundreds of thousands of students that we've got around the world now. So it's been a fun ride. It's been a cool journey. So yeah.
Wow, that was very good. Well done. That was impressive. And such interesting stories. Like almost there's some similarities, but there's lots of differences. And then here you guys came together, and now, like you said, what you've created and what we, a lot of us get to be a part of is really quite magnificent. It really is very special what you guys have done. Amazing. What's your thoughts on? So as you were saying, me personally, in my background, when I left the military, I went to a couple of therapists, dabbled with going to see a couple of psychologists, and not to piggyback too much off your story, Juliet, but I had a very similar in terms of, meeting Paul and learning hypnosis and going through the process of obviously unpacking some of my own shit. And the healing process started. Like, it was phenomenal. Like when you talked about colors and all of us, like I still to this day reflect and think, what the fuck happened to me? Like, well, that was amazing. And it has really made the largest impact on my life. And I wonder for people out there, like I was a bit like, what am I getting myself into? Wasn't too sure, and was so forever grateful that I took the leap. But I wonder for those people out there, and especially in my community, that are still a little bit unaware or unsure, like how would you guys explain it? Like going to a therapist or psychiatrist or psychologist, or going into the world of hypnotherapy or even NLP, like what's your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, one of the big things that we're really big on is teaching people the skills so they can understand themselves and then dive through and make personal transformations, as well as if they want to become a coach and work with others. So I know when you go see someone for counseling, coaching, psychology, you're giving a lot of the power to the person you're working with. And that's great at times, because sometimes it's very hard to see outside the box that you're in. And every different modality has different filters they look through. And some want to kind of pigeonhole and say, this is your problem, this is it. Whereas we're not so much about saying a person's got a problem. We want to work out how they're thinking and how they're perceiving the world, and why that's kind of emerged through past experiences, through their values and beliefs, and teaching them how to run themselves in a way that changes the reality they're perceiving, because it only exists in their world because that's the way they're seeing it. So when we can help them to kind of unpack that all and work out the mechanics of what's going on, but then give them a tool set to make those internal shifts, they change, but the world around them changes because they see the world the way they are. And when you've shifted your internal blocks, literally the thing that used to trigger you, the thing that used to be a challenge, is now completely different because you don't see it that way anymore. So we're real outcome based. We're real focused on that you've got everything you need inside you, and just teaching you how to access those tools, and then having a way to make those shifts internally that you can handle the world outside and not only survive the external situation, but thrive in it. And all the past experiences that may have been the roadblock in your growth actually are the springboard for you to jump forward into your future. Instead of holding you back, they're actually propelling you forward. So a lot of people transform that stuck energy, that, you know, emotional stuff that's holding them back, that becomes the rocket fuel to supercharge their future. So we're really about using all those things that people might see as limitations, but actually become something that's really important in your progression.
And I think that is also very healing in itself, because we really encourage this attitude of curiosity, and that lends to having compassion for not only other people in your life, but also your past self. And I think the reason the trainings are so powerful is you get this deeper sense of understanding of yourself and a great relationship with your own subconscious mind, so that you're not running away from yourself or trying to fix or get rid of part of yourself. You're actually becoming a more whole, integrated human. And that's what, you know, that's what is so transformative. But I think as well, it's very different to see someone once a week for an hour compared to diving into 7 days straight with us. You know, that's like 7 days straight of coaching, therapy, inner work, all the things, all the transformation is immersive for a reason, because each day does build upon the next, so that by the end of the 7 days, you're literally looking back and realizing how far you've come and how much you've grown, but also everyone else in the training as well. You can witness that growth and transformation. So it's a big commitment in that way, but the results and the return on that is huge. And so I think as well, like, some people are a little bit afraid because they think they'd come into a training and be turned into someone else, or you'll change. But actually through our trainings, I think what's so freeing is people become more their true self. And that's what's so liberating in it. It's like, we're not telling you who or what to be. We're just helping you remove the illusions of the shit that wasn't even you to begin with, so that you can actually move forward in your life.
It's the unhypnotizing yourself from the programming that you've built up over your life, from what your family, your friends, your past experiences, your beliefs that have limited you, unpacking them and going, hey, I need to update my software. You know, you get an update on your phone all the time that says, hey, update your software. But a lot of us are running the software we've been running since we were kids, the things that we were taught and believe are true. But the world has changed a lot, and you're probably operating on maps that are no longer useful. So, you know, it's a boot camp for your brain, and you develop that psychological strength, that emotional endurance that, you know, transforms you for the rest of your life, which is really, really powerful.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, and I can confidently support that it does. It, like, working with you guys has really transformed my life phenomenally, and the impact I obviously have on those around me. Boot camp for the brain's a good way.
Patent pending.
Yeah, what's that?
Patent pending, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I was just thinking, it's funny, when I remember first thinking about hypnotherapy, and it's like, isn't that kind of like, I've done the Wim Hof stuff, isn't that like fucking breath work and a bit of deep relaxation? Like, people fall asleep or something, and then you do the course and it's like the polar opposite. It's like, wake the fuck up. Like, there's no sleep. Oh my God.
Yeah, well, I have this saying that I don't use hypnosis to put people to sleep. I use it to wake people up, because everyone's already in a trance. They're already walking around in the daydream of what they think is real and who they think they are. And if you can wake someone up and make them lucid, so they can choose a new reality, because I don't know if you guys have done lucid dreaming where you realize you're dreaming. You can do that in your waking state. You go, okay, cool, this is the patterns I've been running. Become conscious of it and transform it. So like you said, it is that wake up moment. And there's lots of kinds of hypnotherapy as you experience. You can have hypnosis when your eyes open, having a normal conversation, or you could be deep in a trance and off with the fairies. So
we wouldn't say that you're being hypnotized right now, Jamie. We wouldn't say that.
Jamie's
that's the lucid lounge over there. We're gonna have some lucid dreams over there after this. Hey, I have got a question. So as I mentioned earlier, I work with a lot of high functioning, high performance people. So we've got world ranked athletes in this gym, and we've got Mary and Bob on the street. We've got an 85-year-old that trains here. We've got young Queensland rugby players. Like, the list goes on, and it's thick and fierce. But there's one thing that I've noticed, like a common thread in these people, and even business owners, people in managerial positions. It's almost like the higher the demand in their life, or the higher the pressure, the higher the stakes, the bigger the mountain these people are trying to climb, the common thread that I have seen is a lot of them will self-sabotage themselves. So they'll nearly get, like I witness it all the time, and from my own life as well, nearly get there, nearly lose the weight, nearly make more profits, nearly get the margins, nearly make it to a national level, and then they'll do something to get in their way. And what I have observed, I thought I seem to see a lot of people with like low self-worth, whether it's fear of failure, fear of success, comparison, people comparing themselves to others, and they fucking shank themselves when they're nearly there. Like, do you guys have any insights for those people?
100%. I think a good saying is, what got you here won't get you there. So you almost need to become a different version of yourself to get to that next layer. And so, owning and shining brighter brings a lot more attention to you. So like you said, that comparison, that judgment, those fears, like to be, say, the best in your current league is cool. But then when you step up to the higher division or the world class or the best in your country, that brings a whole nother level of attention. So there needs to be a whole nother level of deserving, of confidence, of belief in yourself. So you almost need that mental upgrade. So your skill set might be there, but the capacity to access that potential might be limited by a belief block. Yeah. So there might be some limitation in that. And there could be some things in early childhood, in any experience where, don't show off, don't be, or whatever they've heard from other people. Those kind of things that come up early in life could be some that echo that is playing out in their future, that as soon as they step up and they start getting that attention, there's this pattern that holds them back and keeps them safe in their nervous system. But the truth is, it's not really keeping them safe. It's just keeping them to what they're used to. So developing that comfort in that new capacity, that expanded zone, and we call it embracing the fog. So, if you've ever walked out in a misty morning, it's fog, you can't see anything. Your body wants to keep you safe and it wants you to stay where you know the ground. But when you step into the fog, you expand, it clears, and you build a bigger map in your mind. So it's about expanding your neurology and where you feel safe to play. Yep. And constantly expanding what's possible inside yourself, because a lot of these people have the skill set of a higher level of competition, but their mindset, their beliefs, their internal blocks are what's stopping them from really stepping up to those levels. So you almost need, some people have got the skill set, but they haven't got the mindset to match it. So it's about expanding both as you go.
Kind of like how Gay Hendricks talks about the upper limit as well, that people can easily have that in their mind. So doing some inner work, doing some hypnotherapy, finding out what your beliefs are, and also what people imagine their life to be like once they achieve that, because often people think their life's going to change dramatically, and so that can be a bit of a protection mechanism too. But a lot of the time, if you ask people who have achieved elite things, or think, like, I remember I thought my life was going to change dramatically when I wrote my first book, and then I wrote my first book and it was just like a month later it was like, oh, and so we build up in our mind that all these things are going to change, but they actually, most of the time, like it's a lot more, it's moment by moment. Like life changes in the present moment, and we're only ever just now. And so I think, getting really present with what's real right now, and what are all the beliefs, and what are all of the stories and the fantasies and the fears and the illusions that we're playing out in our mind that is causing us, because our subconscious is always trying to protect us. It's like prime directive is to keep us safe. And a lot of those programs are those, like Paul said, those programs that maybe kept us safe when we were 5, but now that we're 35 or 45 or 55, that's actually limiting us. So doing the inner work, like we said, it's like like what you talked about after doing the courses, it's like when you learn these things, you start thinking, how did I ever not know this stuff before? Because it's like living life with one hand tied behind your back, knowing about clearing these things and understanding yourself, and knowing that your subconscious wants to work with you. And a lot of people are fighting against half of themselves, or actually more than half of themselves, if you think about how powerful our subconscious is. So
and I think, like, the idea of being the big fish in the small pond, like you're dominating your current level, you go to a bigger pond and now you're the small fish. Like there's always going to be challenges at every level. So I like to say there's a devil at every level, and as long as you're expanding and you grow, because initially, let's say it's business, to make your first 100,000, there's a mindset and skill set that you need to get there. Then you get that, that's easy. Then you want to go to 1 million. There's a mindset and a skill set block there. And each level's got its own devils, its own skills you need, and your own mindset to be at that level. So there's never going to not be a challenge mentally and skill set wise. but they're going to change as you go. So as long as someone embraces that and they step into that, that's probably the big thing.
You've got that sort of growth mindset, not a fixed sort of.
Yeah, and knowing there's going to be a new kind of challenge at each level, but as they step into it and embrace that, that's going to help them to grow for sure, 100%.
What I hear the other day is something we get. A lot of people get comfortable with the misery of the familiar because that's comfortable. They know it, and then there's that, and they get a bit afraid or fearful of the happiness of the unknown, like not knowing what's on the other side. So it's like, oh, fuck that. I'll just stay down at that particular level because I know it. Or like you said, I'm the smartest man in the room, or the wealthiest man in the room, or the fittest man in the room. I don't want to go to the new room because I'm not any of those things.
Yeah. And so it's about just letting the body know it's safe, and actually knowing that if you do have that stress response, it's actually your body preparing you to take that step forward. You know, it's not just a sign to run back into the cave. It's a sign that your body's priming you to take that step into the fog and to, you know, be ready for the new battle. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking get in the fog.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Oh my God, where's my kilt? That is the best.
Yeah.
So with these particular people that I'm talking about, so like again, the high functioning, the high achievers, high performance, etc. And they're all very similar: business owners, athletes, leaders, managers. How do you think hypnotherapy and NLP, how do these techniques, models, how do they support these types of people? Like, so for people watching that are like, oh, how does hypnotherapy actually benefit me? How can NLP benefit me and my vision, my journey to where they want to go? Look.
Well, I think it can happen in lots of different ways. So whether someone needs a switch off, so using some of these tools can help you to have that calm, relaxed nervous system, and then activating your creative mind, because a lot of times if you're in a stressed environment, you're going to be starting to go into your left brain, into your sympathetic nervous system, where you just do what you've always done, but that's not going to get you a new result. So to be in that flow state, to be able to navigate where everything kind of slows down, but also tap into your right brain, that creative rest digest state where you actually start connecting the dots and thinking bigger, that's going to be a really powerful thing. So some of these tools will help people to activate that part of their nervous system and have that moment internally where they can go into their genius and actually think bigger, especially in corporations, especially in business, where you're so stuck in the day-to-day. Sometimes you need to zoom out and be able to see that clear vision. But there's also tools to actually help you to get more clarity, whether that's question asking, whether that's actually using the power of your subconscious and unconscious mind to actually do your goals. But clearing blocks is a huge thing as well.
Yeah, one of our favorite kind of analogies or metaphors is, as Paul mentioned earlier, you know, NLP is very outcome focused, and NLP has the crossover between NLP and hypnosis is very, very fine. Like some of the NLP techniques are a form of hypnosis, but NLP is kind of more of the conscious way into the subconscious. We talk about hypno being more of the unconscious way of bringing things into the conscious. So they work together like yin yang, which is why a lot of people end up studying both, because you kind of want the structure and flow. Think about like a yin yang, masculine, feminine. We want to have kind of all the tools that we can when working with our mind. But one of my favorite analogies or metaphors is, you know, if you've got an outcome, imagine being on like monkey bars, right? And you've got an outcome. So you're holding the monkey bars that you're on right now, but you know you want to get to that next monkey bar. So you can see the outcome that you want, but you can't actually move forward until you let go of that past, of the things that you've been holding on to behind you. And so many people are trying to move forward, but they're not actually creating the room and the space to let go. So also what we talk about in our courses is that momentum of letting go of the past, letting go of the beliefs, letting go of the fears, the doubts, the limitations, not you, that, then that gives you momentum and energy to swing forward and grab that new outcome. But then life is a constant series of evolving. So then you just see something else and you need to then let go of that one that you're on. And so you've got to have that trust in letting go of where you've been, just like we've been talking about, but that's going to give you the energy to get to where you want. So NLP as well as hypnosis, they really allow you to find out, okay, what do I really want? what's in the way of that? Let's clear that, and then let's start creating my future. And so they really allow you to, I mean, if you've ever tried changing consciously, like we think about how many days it takes to form a habit, telling yourself every day, you know, I won't eat that cookie, I won't eat that cookie. And then that night you're eating all the cookies, or for example, right? Yep. Yeah. But if we work with the subconscious, then we actually start talking about all of the things that we want to do. And the change is literally, you walk past a cookie and just be like, meh. It's that kind of change that where it's actually so much easier for the individual. And so for the elite athlete, for the business owner, it's getting that clarity, which I think as a business owner, having clarity, having certainty, and having confidence are like the three cornerstones of leadership in any field. And so NLP and hypnosis for us, like they are amazing kind of short circuit ways of being able to create that clarity, certainty, confidence within yourself, that you're not only taking onto the field or into the workplace, but you're taking yourself into every situation, be it your relationships. Everything's going to benefit as a result of you having more understanding of yourself and having, you know, clarity, confidence, certainty in what you're approaching as well. So yeah, it's not about being perfect. One thing we like to talk about though is like, it's not about being a perfect human, right?
You're already a perfect human. It's just your perception that you're not. And so we talk about that at the training as well.
And whether things are like useful or unuseful, rather than things being good or bad, right or wrong, you know, is it useful to help you to get where you want to go? Well, if it's not useful, we've got tools that can help you shift it. But if it is useful and it's helping you on the way, then keep it and leverage that, and let's, you know, focus on other things that you can enhance. So
such a good explanation. Thank you. That is really, really good. And so if somebody came to you guys and were wanting to make a start, like think about that even like a regional level athlete, state athlete, somebody wanted to make a start, where do you start when you're working with people? Like, what do you guys do when you work with individuals or business owners? Where do you start them from?
So I always love to start with the person's values, because the values are going to be what they're intrinsically motivated and inspired to take action on. And if someone is going to start a business, or they're going to step up to a new level of competition, knowing what their values are and helping them to link their goals and dreams and actions they need to take to their values is going to be huge. Because let's say someone wants to become an international athlete and their highest value is family, they're not going to want to leave their family, because if going overseas means they don't see their family, then they're going to have an internal values conflict, then they're going to sabotage. So if we can get them to adjust their values or utilize how going away and playing interstate or international is going to help their family, they'll see congruence and alignment, and there will be 100% green light, not like red light or orange light holding themselves half back, because half of them wants to stay here with the family, half wants to go international. So these kind of things will give you the map of someone's operating system, and you'll know exactly what switches them on to take action, what switches them off. And seeing how that's all been wired up through their life is going to give you a really clear map of where to start with the client. Yep. And then sort of going through their beliefs and the past experiences and unpacking it all, and then helping them to let go of what's no longer useful and create some new unconscious associations to, you know, make the changes they need to become that world-class athlete or to run that world-class business. So that's kind of where I like to start, because it really, once you understand someone's values, you understand them and what they're going to choose to take action on, what they're not, and what's going to be the roadblocks in their way to get success that they want.
Wow, sensational. Yeah, that makes total sense. And having done, obviously learned the values, work with you guys and gone through it myself, that makes total sense. Total sense.
And you'll almost be able to tell the athlete what they will do and won't do, and they'll go, how'd you know that? It's like almost like a psychic reading, but it's basically just mapped out.
Like a map to the subconscious.
You just go, okay, so if you had to choose between this and that, you do that. They go, how'd you know that? And I go, well, your values tell me that. And so the person will understand themselves better, and they'll almost be able to see their life in a piece of paper once you've mapped it all out for them. And then you just go, okay, is this going to get you to where you want to go? Or do we need to make some adjustments? Because if you do just link their values to what they want, they'll achieve it, but you may need to shift their values to make it even more powerful. For example, let's say someone doesn't value wealth, but they value making a difference. You have people that are running businesses that change people's lives, but they're not profitable.
Yeah.
So they're giving away so much value to people, but they're not actually getting any return. Their businesses might fail, right? So these are common things that you can look for when you're working with athletes and business people about like what's going on in the unconscious level, because that's just going to give you basically everything.
100%. Yeah, I think it's so fascinating because you realize who you are, and also what the people that you have conflicts with. If you have conflicts with people, be it in business or relationships or anything, it'll be just because of a conflict of values. And the more you understand your own values and align them, the more you understand the people in your life's values, and not expect them to be carbon copies of you. I think, we all think everyone thinks what's most important to us is what's most important to everyone else, but we all have a unique set of values. And I think that understanding for each individual, be it in business or in their health, any area, it's really interesting as well when you start deconstructing values. Because say an elite athlete, why health is important to them, they may actually also have some really interesting unconscious associations, like things like, so that I don't get sick again. And so when people have what's called away from motivations in their values, they'll have to actually create a situation where they get sick or run down to then move away from that again. So they'll have this inconsistent patterns or inconsistent behaviors as well, which when you deconstruct the values as well as aligning, can be really fascinating and really help people achieve more, maintain more consistent results in their life.
So similar example, but in the field of business, let's say someone has achieved great results in business, but when you look at their values, they might have had to never be broke again. And they run a pattern of constantly running away from being broke, which actually they're chasing it. So their business goes well. And when they're no longer broke anymore, they lose momentum, they stop taking action, and they start running out of money again, and they take action again. And this is what creates the burnout. This is what creates a lot of stress, because they don't have a forward focus to keep growing, to keep expanding. So these kind of things get emerged when you do that sort of deep dive.
Yes.
It really is. Yeah. Such a good topic. And like speaking about values and stuff like that, I've been working with Kimmy Morrison, obviously another one of the crew, the community, and we've been deconstructing my world record event, right? Trying to leave no fucking stone unturned. So I said to Kimmy, come on, give me a hand, let's get our hands dirty and see what's going on. And anyway, short of the long, when we looked at the event and we started to break it down, all my languaging, which I hadn't even realized, was totally unaware, was like, I don't want to fuck this up, not for the third time. I can just don't want to fuck this up. I've really got to nail this one. This is the third time. Like, I don't want to look like a fucking idiot. Like, And we both were like, oh my God. It was all away motivation. It was all negative. And so we re-geared it, re-engineered it. Like, it was so powerful and so cool. And like for people watching, what they basically meant was we took all the negative motivation of what Paul and Juliet are talking about, that away motivation, and created what we call towards motivation or positive motivation. And even things like, and this may be a question coming up a little bit later on, but I hit that little black patch, that little graveyard shift, that 1 a.m, 4 a.m, endurance athletes, call it the graveyard shift, the black patch, whatever. But most people experience negative things during that time. And I'm no different. I hate it. And if I've ever quit on some of the long stuff, multi-day stuff, it's within that little patch. So I actually fear it. And so I spoke about that as well. So we totally re-engineered it to like, can't wait for the black patch, where I get to hang out with all my demons and voices from my past and the ghosts and the boogeyman.
Hey buddy.
We're gonna have a fucking buffet. We're gonna have a party at 1 o'clock in the morning. So it really is quite powerful, isn't it? It's just incredible, the values.
Yeah. Breaking down all of the strategies, all of the self-talk, all of that is so powerful. It's phenomenal. And spending that time doing that is going to give you, when you think about that now, such different unconscious associations and feelings as well. And we talk a lot about, wanting to achieve things. You've got to have the intention, but also the feeling, the emotion you have around it needs to be aligned. And for a lot of people, they're saying they want one thing, but they're feeling something incongruent. They're feeling like a flash of fear or a flash of, doubt or something like that. And so aligning that, like the feelings you have, they are messages from your unconscious mind. So they're a great indicator if there's anything that's out of alignment. So now thinking about that, it would feel so different. So that's a great example. And
so that's like the green lights on all levels. You're giving yourself a clear instruction to keep going. You picture keep going, and it makes you feel good. If you picture not being able to do it, and thinking of the bad repercussions, that gives you a negative emotion. And over 24 hours or 48 hours or endurance type stuff, that's going to be an extra 100 reps that you didn't need to do, right? So That's going to be a lot. And I think, you know, that embracing the shadow monsters, because you go into that cave and you realize there's nothing, that you'll shine that light on them and they'll just disappear as you go. And even if you like turn into them and own them, no, but that's the thing too. You own the monsters that are there, and express the monsters. They can drive you through that darkness. That's going to be really powerful as well. So I think that will be fun to explore. Yeah, if you turn into a demon on the bar, you know, that's going to be good. Yeah, you know, might as well take it on, because if it's part of you, it's powerful, right? So owning the light, owning the dark, I think that's a huge thing, because, you know, you might as well use some of that energy as well, you know, because there is a time for the away from energy. It's not good long-term strategy, but in the short term, it can get you moving, right? So there will be a time to wear that hat if you need to. And I think you're doing a fantastic job. It's nice that you've gone through and you've broken it all down and looked at it all with a microscope.
Yeah. No stone left unturned. That's for sure. So it'll be awesome. Speaking of the long term, so you guys, I was like, I'm obviously part of the business community, the lab community, which I just absolutely love. And I've noticed, like, and you would probably support this, Paul, especially from the fitness industry. There's a lot of sort of one-hit wonders, you know, inspirational speeches, YouTube clips, the 3-day course at Noosa teaching kettlebell movements, and everything's very one-hit, very unrealistic, quick fix sort of programs, nutrition challenges, things like that. And I don't see a lot of marketing around long-term. So long-term programs, long-term improvement. That, like, I know it's not very sexy. Like, this is going to take you, I don't know, fucking 2 years to make money, or, actually probably 3 years till you get abs. Like, come and sign up with me today. Like that doesn't sell very much. I mean, no one likes the brown nose, but I'll get my nose a little dirty today. Like, you guys run fucking amazing courses, and which is why I'm so proud to be part of the community and will continue to do so. So I believe in your guys' long-term programs and development. But what's a sort of, what's a start for these people, these athletes, these business owners? Like, what does the long-term look like? Like, what's an approach for that?
Well, I think if you can have a long-term approach, then you're going to ride the waves better. I think if people are looking for that quick fix, and I know, like you said, business-wise, it's very sexy to get people to do 6-minute abs, or, you know, 6 weeks to sexy or whatever, right? But when you zoom out longer, but if you can get yourself as a person, as a business owner, as a athlete, to see the long term, you're going to have bad training sessions. You're going to have great training sessions. But if your life is only focused on one training session, that make or break you, right? But if you've got that long-term vision, you'll ride the waves a lot better, and still knowing and being how to reverse engineer the long-term into the daily tasks. So it's when you can connect the small dots to the big picture, that's really powerful. So having a great coach like Jamie to help you to see how you're doing your stretching is going to help you to achieve that world record. That's really important. You know, so linking your goals, your values together, and reverse engineering the small steps, but seeing how it leads to the big step is great. So we're really big on having a purpose, a vision, and a mission for yourself, your business, etc., and having that real clear big picture, because that gives you your why. That's going to get you up to do that session you don't want to do that day, right? But then breaking it down to the small steps in a way that's not overwhelming, that's prioritized, that's scheduled in, is really, really powerful as well. So being able to dance between those two worlds is something that having a great coach can help you to do, because sometimes as a business owner or as an athlete, you get so focused on the day-to-day task and you forget why you're even doing it. Or some people are so overwhelmed, they've got so many things flowing through their head, they can't bring it to what am I supposed to do right now that would make the 80%, 20% action that gives you 80% result. And this is where having someone to help unpack your brain and help you to put it in a bit of a structure will help.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, one of the things that we talk about is that in life you can either really evolve by choice or by chance. And so having that coach that keeps you evolving, keeps you growing, you know, a lot of people, just business owners, for example, they'll study the NLP practitioner course, not necessarily because they want to be a coach, but because they want to be expanding their mindset, clearing out things that they might not be aware of that are in the way. And just having a week where you press pause on business and life and actually just lift up the hood and have a look at what's going on and clear out anything that isn't working well. And then a lot of people in our community, they do keep studying with us and doing those things because they know the benefit in evolving by choice and saying, well, I don't know what's holding me back, so why don't I proactively start diving into discomfort, diving into the unknown, diving into uncertainty, and keep growing and being, like you're a part of the mentorship. You're like, I just want to keep growing, keep evolving, and keep that muscle that you have built in the business boot camp strong. And the what do we say? So mental brain boot camp, brain boot camp strong, right? So I think for anyone listening, whether it's working with Jamie or working with a coach, or keeping yourself in that that discomfort, keeping yourself in the unknown, I think that's the most important thing that we can do, because otherwise you kind of just atrophy and get stagnant, right? So
you've got to keep sharpening the sword. If you don't, if you're an athlete and you train once and you go, yep, I got it now, the skills start going back down again. If you business, you run one great event, you don't have another event coming up, it slowly goes back down again. So making sure that you have those goals in your future, those challenges that you're growing towards as well, is huge. But bringing it back to the day-to-day as well.
The unsexy long-term, because your life is going to be the longest thing you ever do. So you may as well commit to some long-term things. Otherwise, it's going to be a short-term result, short-term, life. So
but you need having short-term things to chase, but knowing that it all fits in something big picture is huge as well.
That was such a good point, having that big vision and then reverse engineering, breaking it down into those little micro doses. That's such a good, because the overwhelm's a big one. Overwhelm definitely dismantles a lot of people. It's just all a bit too hard and fucking.
If people see the mountain and they go, how the fuck am I going to get to the top of that? That's hard, right? But if you go, okay, first we just got to get past this rock, and then when you get past this rock, but we'll get to that next bit, but let's get through this first bit, and then next month we're doing this bit, and then next month, and then if it's mapped out and each step that you need to take to get to the top of the mountain, it's easy. You just got to do the next step in front of you. And so, but knowing that you go, I've got to do 20 million steps. Well, we're going to get us up the mountain if we do that, but it's just 2 steps a day or whatever it is.
Yeah. What was that? That famous philosopher, Dr. Zeus, inch by inch, it's a cinch, and yard by yard, it's hard. What we do a little, you'll soon be able to do a lot, or something like that.
Yeah, perfect.
Good old Dr. Zeus.
Yeah.
But final question, because I know you guys are busy, and I'm mindful of time. This is a hypothetical one. Now, say you had a friend, right? A mate of yours. He was a married guy, brown skin, and he might be doing a world record or something like that. Just a guy that you might know, a friend of yours.
Totally unrelated.
Totally unrelated. And he was looking to be quite selfish and just pick your brains as mentors of mine and people that I obviously adore and appreciate your wisdom. What any suggestions around, if hanging out in that black patch with the demons and the ghosts and the voices and the shadows, and any advice around that, and maybe a little pain management as well, if there was just anything that bubbled up that you guys might have for that friend of yours?
There's so much, and we're obviously more than happy to have a chat to you about it more offline as well. And I think the first one is knowing within every single inch of your being that it's already done. And having that absolute knowing and certainty, and doing some hypnotherapy, doing some NLP, whatever it is, to get to that 100%. And we talk about doing certainty checks, how certain are you from 0 to 100% that you're sitting in that leather chair right now? How certain are you that you're holding that world record on date, whatever date it is? I forgot the exact date in my mind right now, but I know you know it. I think as well, in terms of pain management, we've even given people, hypnobirthing is amazing. There are some of the elements of that are very useful in terms of pain management as well. A lot of the advanced hypnosis techniques in terms of finding the pain thermostat in your subconscious mind as well, and working with that. I would probably go through all of the NLP prac manuals, all of the hypno manuals, everything, and do every single technique. That would be what I would recommend for you to do. That would be my task.
I'm taking a week off work.
I think you said leave no stone unturned. So I would say get someone in our community, because people do swaps. So imagine if you had a swap with every single person on a different technique, and you actually did every single process and technique around it. That would be pretty epic. 100%. That would be a world record NLP hypno practice.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of different things, but it depends, obviously. I would say just getting super comfortable and embracing it and turning it into a meditation as well. So you've obviously, I know you've got a lot of tools around different ways to go through pain, but knowing if you can ride the sensation and be 100% present with it and just let that be part of the journey, because it's going to be at some point, then that would be really powerful. And just noticing anything you put on top of that, because the pain sensation isn't the problem. It's what you then say about it, right? And obviously your body needs to keep you safe at some points, and you know when it is and when it isn't, but just building that relationship with it and knowing that it's a useful thing, but not making it any more than it needs to be. That's going to be huge. And just like owning it, stepping into it, especially when it does get dark, then get dark with it, and just be in that and just let that be, because it's only moment by moment and it's temporary. Like, it's not going to last longer than the time that it is, and it's only 1 second at a time. And if you're there 100% with it, there's nothing else going on. That's all that matters. And it's only going to last that 1 second, and that's it. So I remember Alan Watts said, you only wash one dish at a time. You're there, and each rep of the dish is a meditation.
Oh my God.
If you're thinking about all the dishes, you're not present. If you're washing that one dish, it's all it's ever going to be. So, one rep, that's the meditation. Everything else is an illusion. It's not even happening. And if you're there with what is happening, it won't be a problem, because you won't be there, but you will be there. If that makes sense.
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best.
I just feel like going and washing dishes now. So that's what he does. That's what he does.
I knew
You're
when
not
he
a
was
dishwasher.
doing it.
It's okay.
I'm washing dishes.
I've never wanted to do that so much right now.
It was funny, Juliet.
Become the dish. Yeah.
Yeah, I was out. I was totally out.
Fucking God. Oh, I hope our community watches this podcast, because they'll be like,
With a bit of drool.
The max on, max off. Yeah.
bubbles. I heard Alan Watts, and then after that I was fucked. I was gone.
It's gone.
Oh, that is the best. Oh,
Yeah.
that's really good advice. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Because if you're thinking about the extra 10 hours you got to do, you're not right there where you are. Because you only ever need to be right there, and eventually the 10 hours will be gone.
Yeah. And I was going to just say as well, like, obviously there's the confidence, but there's also the competence, and you're doing all of the things to ensure the competence, like the doability of it. And so then the confidence, just aligning any beliefs, any doubts, any fears that come up, just clearing those limiting beliefs. You could do timeline or anything on those as well.
Yeah. And while you're doing the physical preparation, that's perfect preparation mentally as well. And even jumping up in those early hours of the mornings to purposely train there and get comfortable and used to that. Make that where you are. Like, have you watched The Dark Knight? Some people just embrace the darkness, but I was born there, whatever Bane there, that whatever his quote is. If you were born in that darkness, it's you. That's where you thrive. That's where you are, right? If you just watch that again, that might give you a little inspiration.
That was like, what's his name? David Goggins, when he did his world record attempt, he had the music from Rocky 2, I think, back in the fucking 70s and 80s, on repeat for 12 hours.
Yeah.
It was just this one little bit, and people would come in the gym and like, fucking hell, he's still playing that, and it's like real emo fucking, oh my God. He was, it makes sense.
Yeah, so having that external anchor, I mean, I know that you've done the spot on the wall when you've zoned out like that. You can have that as a set point just to put your nervous system back to that place. You can have a whole heap of cool new tools if you need them. But I think, while you're training all the other stuff, train some of that
and
too.
all else fails, Paul can pull out his gangster and threaten to kill you if you don't get the world record. He has been known to threaten that to people before to get them into action. So, if there was a gun held to your head, you had to get it.
There's not many people I'd listen to, but I would definitely listen to Paul. That's
He's
out the
scary.
shotgun.
He's scary when he needs to be.
That's the cool thing. I'm really, really looking forward to the learnings. I think to go to a place I've never been before, and I've been to some funky places, as I'm sure many people have, but this one in particular, it's got some funk in it. So to like that, to utilize so many different tools, lots of quality people's input and suggestions, and put all of those things and some of those things and everything into practice. It's going to be really, really cool. I'm looking forward to it.
And all those places you've been, guess what? You didn't die. You're still here. So just remember that.
Thanks,
you're not, you're going to make it through. Regardless, you're going to make it through. And that's like, sometimes your body's like, no, you're going to die. No, I'm not. I'm going to be fine. So just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, I think once people get through that fear of, I think it was Mike Tyson when he was talking about it, when he was fighting, he got to the point where he didn't care if he died, if he was going to be killed. So once that was taken off the table, it was pretty scary.
Yeah, because that mental will turn up the volume on everything else. But once you let it go, your body's like, well, it doesn't matter anymore. It'll let it go. So yeah, maybe play that game a little bit too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's going to be the best.
Yeah.
Team, thank you so much for your time. Like, just absolutely amazing. I know there'll be so many people that will get a shitload of value out of our time together. And you've given it so generously, tons of wisdom, cool insights, so many thought-provoking things that you guys shared today. Just like any other podcast, if people are watching or listening at home, where's the best place to find you guys, especially upcoming courses and things like that? Where would that be? Where do we start?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been super fun chatting with you. So our website is evolveandrelaunch.com.au, and also our Instagram is at Evolve and Relaunch. We've obviously got our own personal Instagrams as well, just our names, but that has all of our upcoming course dates where you can find, and you can book a call with one of our team as well, and they can even just have a chat to you about, what would be the next best step, whether coaching would be a good step, or whether doing a course, which course would be the right fit for you, for your goals. So if they do let us know as well, anyone listening, if you mention Jamie's name, you also get $100 course credit to study with us as a big thank you to Jamie. So make sure you mention this podcast and his name.
Thanks for having us on. This has been super fun. Hopefully people got a ton out of it. I had a great time.
Yeah, you're a legend. Look forward to seeing you with that gold medal.
Yes.
That medal around you.
I want to get a new Guinness book where it's just like pages and pages of your name.
Yes.
It's like a whole section.
World's longest toenails.
Oh my God.
Go for some easy ones, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, that one's easy.
Best tan.
Oh, yeah, I could do that. The most beige brown man, butterbean. Oh my God. Thank you so much, team. Have a great year. We'll see you soon and all that good stuff. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jamie.
Keep evolving. Woo.
Bye, team. Bye. Oh, that's the best.